Were you aware that Apple has an Xbox competitor, a PlayStation competitor? I wasn't either, but actually Mark Gurman's out with the case why the new Mac Mini might be Apple's answer to the Xbox. I want to parse that out, think about it a little bit, see what you think about it. The new Mac Mini is definitely cool. Is it also a game console level device? Clearly there for creatives, it's a productivity machine, but is it also an answer to gaming systems like the Xbox? Well, whether you think about it as a productivity machine or a gaming machine, it's really going to come down to the chip inside, the M4. Now, I don't know about you, but when I think Xbox, I think more like Call of Duty. And when I think about Apple and gaming, I think Apple Arcade. Not exactly hardcore gaming, so to speak, more casual gaming, I guess you would say. I mean, you can tell on Apple's website, they are leaning into the gaming angle a little bit. So a couple things here that sort of make it a candidate potentially for this. It is nice and compact, so that would make it suitable for a living room setup, right? It also has macOS with better support for games than Macs have had in the past. You combine those things with the performance improvements and the fact that you compare this with the controller of your choice, and you actually have an interesting candidate for a gaming console. You can wire up that Ethernet for online gaming, network support, and also you can HDMI out. Okay, here's the thing. Apple's usually focused on productivity and professional tools over gaming. So this clearly isn't a dedicated gaming device. And here's the big thing, the Mac Mini doesn't have the dedicated graphics hardware that's specifically found in gaming consoles like the Xbox. And though Apple Arcade does offer games, a library of games, it doesn't have the same sort of gaming library, the AAA titles, that again, I think hardcore gamers would really be looking for. The AAA titles that are available on the Mac are things like Lies of P. You know, it's not like there's no AAA titles available for the Mac. There's a few. But it's almost like the reverse situation where for years when apps would come out, they would hit the iPhone first and then go to Android because it was just like a better system. You know, like it made more sense for developers to stick their titles over on the iPhone and iOS, iPadOS, you know, etc., and then go over to the Android side of things. Well, it's like the reverse. You know, titles trickle the other way when it comes to gaming and Macs. Now, Apple's custom silicon, I think, could change the landscape for gaming on Macs. They're efficient. There's some performance, serious performance there. And that might make Macs more appealing for gaming if they leverage it right. You remember Google Stadia? It shut down on January of 2023. That was Google's foray into cloud gaming. And I have seen people talking about, well, maybe the Macs could make a good cloud gaming sort of console or service. You know, like maybe that's where the sweet spot's going to end up being. I think one thing that Apple has under leveraged is their ecosystem. You know, people are talking about, well, maybe the Mac Mini could integrate with other Apple products for more of a unified gaming experience. Like, how cool would it be to be able to utilize your iPad Pro as some sort of a second screen or something during a gaming session? Like, there's interesting things that could happen. People are wondering, you know, if Apple's going to take it seriously, what would a signal be? Maybe developing their own proprietary controller instead of just supporting other platforms' controllers. To judge the level of seriousness, I think people are wondering if Apple will work even more closely with other developers to bring more AAA titles to macOS. So I really want you guys to sort this out down in the comments because that'll be helpful for me as well. What do you think about what Gurman is floating here? I mean, the pricing, the price point for the Mac Mini versus a gaming PC. You know, it's like, it's not apples to apples, is it? Cost versus performance versus something like a gaming PC, for instance. Is it competitive with consoles in terms of the cost? I think when Gurman comes out with an article like this, it's more like a blend of optimism for what could be that has to get tempered by the reality of how things are actually right now.